All right, so I wanted to talk a bit about the behind the scenes of how I actually recorded and produced At My Throat. This song was written about a year ago, and I usually just write on acoustic guitar and I sing, and then eventually I start recording it all in my home studio here and add a bunch of stuff. And like I talked about a bit ago, a lot of the songs lately, I'm kind of embracing the fact that they're this guitar-focused track, and it's kind of like guitar and vocals driving the song. So due to that, the drums and bass are kind of simple and just kind of holding down a groove. It's a fun bass part in the verse. And they basically just go back and forth between those kinds of rhythms. And the fun stuff really came from the guitar. And the main guitar part that goes throughout the entire song is this right here. And that's kind of got this like 1975, almost robbers kind of thing, which I was really inspired by, where basically it's just like a droning chord where the bass note changes, but the other notes in the chord stay the same. And then in the choruses, I actually kind of dropped it to just the droning notes, I think. And there's a little bit of movement there. And that was kind of like the core of the song, that and the bass and drums. And then the other big change is the chorus. And the chorus has these really reverby chords that sound like this. We kind of add it with the other stuff. So that was actually really inspired by my friend Mercedes from Soft Cult, where they're kind of a shoegaze band, and she'll do this guitar tone a lot where it's like really reverby and kind of this like pad background to the song. And that is actually something I, for the most part, use the Walrus Audio slow reverb pedal to get a lot of that tone. But I also kind of, even though I could have just asked her, I kind of reverse engineered how that guitar tone comes about and kind of came with my own version of it. And I figured out how much of it has to do with like strumming pretty softly. A lot of it's really just about not playing too much and then having a lot of reverb coming from the slow. And those are like the big, I guess, rhythm parts. But there's another really fun thing I did, which is in the chorus, there's this little accent. And basically what that is I took this like really basic guitar plug. I just plucked like one note, and I recorded it through this plugin called Portal, which is like this granular, cuts up the audio and rearranges it and does all these crazy effects. And I printed the output of that to its own track, which sounded like this. Close to what I wanted, but a little too weird and messy. So I went through, as you can see, and I just chopped out only the bits I wanted, and I layered them to come after the initial hits, which I think I also chopped out of that one recording, and it became this. Really cool effect part. And that's like 90% of the guitars. We can listen to a bunch of that together, which is really fun. But obviously there is the main riff, which is the other part of the song. Most of the song was recorded on my Telecaster, which I love. But when I was finishing recording the song, I got my American Strat, which is such a great guitar. And I actually re-recorded this riff part on the Strat. And most of these were actually, the guitar tone was just coming from a Fender style clean sound on my Helix with the Walrus slow reverb. But for this one, I kicked on a Rat style distortion, which is just this fun, more aggressive rock distortion. And I actually also added some chorus with this plugin from Arturia. And a lot of these also have added reverb, and this has like some widening and some tape saturation, some, a lot of effects on this, but it's just this really fun. The fact that everything else is on the telly, but the Strat is just a little brighter, and it just has this like upper mid-range that cuts through a little bit. So when you hear it in the context of the full song, that guitar doesn't have to be super loud or aggressive, but it just comes through so clearly. And I really love how this came out. Yeah, hopefully that helps you understand and have a bit of a look into the guitar, especially, and just how this song came to be. It's basically all guitars and a bass and drum track, and obviously, my singing. So yeah, I hope you like it.